let's try that. And if that works, I'll probably need to share out an updated YouTube address.
Yeah.
And I guess on Facebook it will just show that Robert Nasir and Amy Nasir are live. But let's see. Let's take a look. Yeah, we are live on Facebook. Folks, we dropped out, and so we are recreating the show. We are start all over again. And so it's just taking us a minute. Do all the logistics here. It says live December 08 is the title. We'll change that later to part 2 of the episode. All right, let's pop out the chat. All right, Amy, are you sharing the link, or should I start doing that too?
Let me see. I'm trying to here.
YouTube, there, minimize.
I'm sharing it on Facebook for now.
All right, I will copy that. Actually, I should do this on this other machine. And Equal to Reality is already back. He says 3-time lucky. Well,
oh, nice.
Good. Let me throw that link in the WhatsApp group, which is far more visible to our friends in the other hemispheres than the Facebook-y stuff. View your channel. Thank you, folks. Your patience is greatly appreciated. The funny thing is, I say that, and the only people who hear me say that are the people who were patient. So the people who are not patient are not hearing that.
All right, all right.
Choose is greatly appreciated.
Silly Facebook.
All right.
And YouTube.
All right, and of course, echo there. Stop that. All better. Folks, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining us. And I was just pointing out that, yes, since it is Happy Bodhi Day, the Day of Enlightenment, well, we're part of the Age of Enlightenment. And we are all about that. We got to Jim Morrison, who was born on this day, passed away at 27. The reason that came up, why do I talk about people who passed away? Oh, this is also the day, tragic day, that John Lennon was shot by that Bastich, who is still in prison for that crime on this day in 1980. Well, the actor, in fact, the objectivist actor, Stephen Shub, on formerly Twitter, now X, posted, well, he started out with Memento Mori and then said, how's about Memento Ti Vivere? You know, remember someday you're going to die. Well, he says, remember that you are alive. And as I say, hopefully the people who hear the former are actually bringing to mind the latter. You are living this one irreplaceable, indispensable life. You know, we did an episode called Standing on Sacred Ground. Sacred ground. Well, where is sacred ground? That sounds very woo. It sounds kind of religious. Where is sacred ground? Sacred ground is wherever you are standing, wherever you are living, wherever you are, that is sacred ground. You know, Amy, you mentioned recently the book by Ayn Rand, The Fountainhead.
Yeah, the forward to the 25th anniversary edition.
Yeah, when the 25th anniversary edition came out, she wrote an updated introduction to it. And she talked about how it feels to have the book out for 25 years and her reflections on it. And she talks about, well, let me read just a bit from the introduction. This leads me to a wider issue which is involved in every line of The Fountainhead and which has to be understood if one wants to understand the causes of its lasting appeal. Religion's monopoly in the field of ethics has made it extremely difficult to communicate the emotional meaning and connotations of a rational view of life. Just as religion has preempted the field of ethics, turning morality against men, so it has usurped the highest moral concepts of our language, placing them outside this earth and beyond man's reach. Exaltation is usually taken to mean an emotional state evoked by contemplating the supernatural. Worship means the emotional experience of loyalty and dedication to something higher than man. Reverence means the emotion of a sacred respect to be experienced on one's knees. Sacred means superior to and not to be touched by any concerns of man or this earth, etc. But some concepts do name actual emotions. even though no supernatural dimension exists. And these emotions are experienced as uplifting or ennobling, without the self-abasement required by religious definitions. What then is their source or referent in reality? It is the entire emotional realm of man's dedication to a moral ideal. And she goes on to give examples and to point that out. But this idea of the sacred as something superior to and not to be touched, I love that. I absolutely love that. You are standing on sacred ground. It's why my two heroes are Howard Roark and Cyrano de Bergerac. Cyrano de Bergerac regards his life as sacred, and he does not allow people who don't belong to touch it. That's why he doesn't allow any insults, if you know the story. Howard Roark has his own version of that. It's not that he doesn't allow people to touch that. It's that no matter what other people do, he doesn't care. They don't touch it because he remains untouched by it all. So I love the reminder from Stephen Shub, Memento Mori. Remember, someday, your life is finite. Someday it's going to end. Everything is finite. I'm finite. You're finite. We're all finite. Even that guy who Tucker Carlson just interviewed about, his philosophy is don't die. And he's a billionaire and he's doing all these things to trying to never die. Even that guy's going to die someday, because we can make ourselves immortal, but we can't stop all accidents. And, we're always going to be vulnerable in some way.
Even Tucker Carlson's demons will die someday.
Yeah, well.
Yes.
I don't know if demons ever die. Do you die if you don't exist? Tucker.
I guess you die twice.
Oh, yeah, well, as soon as you start believing in demons, you've already died once. Tucker Carlson. I still can't believe there are friends of ours who take Tucker Carlson. He believes in demons. He thinks there are demons around us. That's why bad things... Okay, enough of that. Okay, since the chat is back up, since we are back up and the chat is back up, two things I want to hear from you today. We've run out of Christmas movies to watch. Well, I mean, we can watch some of the great Christmas movies. I was thinking maybe we should watch Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2 again.
Yeah, we need to do that.
We saw those pretty recently, but they were really good. Some of the fringe Christmas movies that some of you will say, and maybe with reason, that they aren't really Christmas movies. Of course, Serendipity and Die Hard. But we need more Christmas movies. I think we might have mentioned last week we did go out and see Red 1. It's Dwayne Johnson, okay? It's not a great movie, but it's a great movie. It's Dwayne Johnson. You can't go wrong. J.K. Simmons was in it. Lucy Liu was in it. Just great. Helen Hunt. No. Bonnie Hunt was in it, who did a much better job than Meg Ryan did, bringing back the romantic comedy, because she's willing to look old, and she is old, and she was great. No, if you like fun popcorn movies and you don't care what the critics think, do go see Red 1. But share with us in the chat your suggestions for, Robin says, isn't Die Hard a Christmas movie? It is. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Serendipity is a Christmas movie. Some people would say these films either aren't Christmas films or they're, what's the term we use nowadays, Christmas adjacent. But I absolutely say nonsense. It is a Christmas movie. Absolutely. Christmas begins and ends with Christmas music. It's a Christmas party. What more could you want? Yes. I did have one more on this date, and this relates to the second thing that I'd like to see from you in the chat. Christmas movies we should definitely watch. Second thing is favorite instrumental music.
Yes, okay, all right.
And obviously orchestral music, classical music, but in contemporary music, and contemporary can mean, in the last 50, 100 years, but I'm in a group on Facebook called Acoustic Covers, and people will post, well, usually they're sitting or standing there with an acoustic guitar playing a song, and they post it online. And somebody posted, I've been posting and nobody responds. Is it because they're instrumentals? And I'm like, no, instrumentals can be great. So share with me your favorite, and doesn't have to be rock and roll. It can be pop music, it can be classical music, it can be, swing, blues, whatever you're into. Yes, even country. Are there Now there's a question for you. Are there, I know there are in old style country music, but do they do it anymore? Are there instrumental country songs?
There might be by Junior Brown, but he's a little bit more eclectic. He's rockabilly and Hawaiian and all sorts of other things. But
Yeah, Junior Brown's great.
Yeah, Junior Brown we highly recommend.
Yeah, look him up. Yeah, he plays a git steel. What's a git steel? Well, he took a guitar and a steel guitar, a slide guitar, and pieced them together into one instrument. And he does a great job going back and forth between 6-string guitar and steel guitar. Very, very fun stuff. The reason I thought of it is because looking at birthdays, it's Gregg Allman's birthday. We lost him just a few years ago, but he lived to 69, which is a lot more fortunate than his brother. And the Allman Brothers, actually, one of my favorite instrumental songs, linked to it in the show notes, is a song called Jessica. And that is a great rock instrumental.
Well, I'll tell you a very short instrumental piece that is really great for Christmas time is the Django Reinhardt Christmas Swing. It's called Christmas Swing by Django Reinhardt.
Yeah.
It's an excellent recording. Just check it out. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite songs to wake up to on Christmas morning. You turn that up, and there's presents under the tree, and the tree is glowing and looking beautiful, and everything's sparkly and stunning, and oh my gosh! And you turn on Christmas Swing by Django Reinhardt, and it's just a fabulous song. It really gets you in the mood.
Oh, Christopher Smith is mentioning dueling banjos. The funny thing is I'll get people who recommend dueling banjos, but they do it intentionally slyly because of the reference to Deliverance. And other people just realize, no, that's a great piece of music. It's kind of ruined by its association with that film. Kind of like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was ruined for a lot of people by its association with A Clockwork Orange. So I don't know if Christopher is recommending that on its own merits, and it deserves that. Yeah, great instrumentals in rock. You say dueling banjos, and I immediately just start thinking of all the great instrumental music from those days. Mason Williams' Classical Gas, for example.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite band, of course, has several. Steve Howe of the band Yes has Clap and Mood for a Day and all sorts of instrumental music. But yeah, Jessica by the Allman Brothers, I heartily recommend. It puts me in a good mood every time I hear it. And maybe you too. Oh, I just realized I'm looking at the stale chat there on Facebook, or did it actually restart the same video?
I don't think so. I think
oh,
no,
there it goes. No, I just
yeah.
needed to refresh my page. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm just catching up on the chat here. And the reason why I go to this theme of Memento Mori and Sacred Ground is we talked last week about how other people are just the best thing going. Second highest value in my life is other people. After what? Yourself. But we didn't really talk about yourself. And this week I think we should do that because the meaning of Christmas is the value of other people for what? For you, in your life.
Yes.
We've got a couple quotes from Ayn Rand here about Christmas that I'll just read real quick to make the point. Because Ayn Rand was asked, what about celebrating Christmas if you're an atheist? And she said, the secular meaning of the Christmas holiday is wider than the tenets of any particular religion. It is goodwill toward men. Mm-hmm. A frame of mind which is not the exclusive property, though it's supposed to be a part, but it's largely an unobserved part of the Christian religion. The charming aspect of Christmas is the fact that it expresses goodwill in a cheerful, happy, benevolent, non-sacrificial way. One says, Merry Christmas, not weep and repent. And the goodwill is expressed in a material, earthly form by giving presents to one's friends or sending them cards in token remembrance. So we've got a couple of links. There's nowadays there's a lot of resources on Ayn Rand and Christmas, including the Christmas cards that she sent and received.
Yes, and the 2 stuffed lion dolls that they put up on either on top or below their Christmas tree. Ayn Rand and Frank O'Connor when they had their Christmas tree.
Yes, Oscar and Oswald were part of every Christmas with the O'Connors.
Yes.
Very, very sweet. Just catching up on the chat here. Oh, of course, Jennifer points out YYZ. Or in America, we would say YYZ for the band Rush. Yes, great instrumental. And the great thing about a progressive rock band like Rush is you get instrumentals even in the songs that have some vocals. There are whole instrumental sections. I don't know, does La Via Strangliato count as having vocals? It's a little bit of goofy scat in there, but I count that as an instrumental too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. I missed a couple. Yeah, I have to go through the chat after the show, make sure I've caught all of these. Christopher Smith was answering the question of, was he serious about recommending films? He says, Eyes Wide Shut. I guess there's a Christmas connection to that, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Is it?
I just don't want to watch Tom Cruise.
I don't mind watching Tom Cruise. I just don't want to watch Kubrick and Cruise.
Right.
But at some point I'll need to do that because, by all accounts, it is a great movie, and Kubrick is very, very good at what he does. So there is that. Under my section, what are we listening to this week? It's pure shameless self-promotion. You'll see the ACR Trio, Amy, Conrad, and Robert at OCON 2017 Talent Night. That was the first talent night we attended. I don't know if it was the first one they ever did, but
no.
2017, they did a talent show. They hadn't quite worked out all the kinks as well as they have lately. So when we got involved in it, we brought all of the gear to be a full rock band. Amy, you had a full drum kit.
Well, it wasn't a full drum kit.
It wasn't a full, not a big drum kit, no.
It was a small one.
Yeah. Well,
we put
bass, snare, tom, cymbals, ride, that's
everything that we could fit into our car and drive down to Pittsburgh.
And it was not an SUV. It was a Honda Accord, so it wasn't gig night levels of gear. But we brought bass and bass amp, which Conrad played. We bought guitar and guitar amp. And we played a couple of songs. The link to that is in the show notes. If you listen to that, it will get our numbers up. And that will be your Christmas present to us. There's also a link to the EPK, the Electronic Press Kit, which is really just a 1.5-minute video of Ron Toole and the Capitalists. This is the video pastiche I threw together when we released True Tales of Dereliction by Ron Toole and the Capitalists. The song is called What's That Goo? You'll see there's a parental guidance warning at the beginning of the video, and with good reason. I won't explain the song beyond saying it has to do with Bill Clinton's presidential term. But it will only take 1.5 minutes out of your life if you want to hear Amy and I playing original music, which we didn't write, but we did play. Our lead singer was responsible for that particular crime.
Yes, that particular crime.
Yes. Yep. Let's see. Robin says there's a bit of an echo. Echo gone.
Oh, yeah, that was, I guess,
that was
when
I first brought the video up and it was playing. Okay. All right. So what else are we seeing in the chat here that I need to be attending to? Because really, again, all I've got today is I really want you to have that sense as we go into the holidays of not just memento mori, remember someday you will die, as they say. In other words, remember to live, but that you are standing on sacred ground wherever you go. And this is the time of year for it, because you can experience that sense of the sacred, as Ayn Rand talks about, in both a big, serious, intense, and disciplined way, but you can also do it in a very comfortable, relaxed, well-earned way. And either way, I want you to take that seriously, yesterday, today was tomorrow. And tomorrow, today will be yesterday.
So true.
And that's why, as I say, I like having things on the calendar. I like having, we've already purchased our tickets for OCON next year, and we know that's coming up. I like having vacations planned. I like knowing there are good things in the future, and the time and expense has already been handled. It is a value just waiting there to be enjoyed, like chocolate cake in the refrigerator. And part of the challenge can be, balancing means and ends. The things that you do that are purely ends in itself, the things that remind you that your life is sacred. It could be this moment where you're doing nothing more important than listening to this conversation, and maybe you're having dinner, maybe you're doing whatever you're doing at the same time, just as an end in itself. I mean, you might hear something and take a note and say, oh, I should remember that for later, but it's really just an end in itself. And you've got other values, what Aristotle would call means values versus ends values, that are means to an end. But I'll tell you, the best way to balance means and ends. The best way is anytime you catch yourself using the word balance, replace it with integrate.
Yeah.
People say, how do I manage my work-life balance or my work and family balance? And the answer is, don't balance, integrate. Choose your ends, determine the means to achieve them, but then the means, whatever it is, your career, your work around the house, your tasks, your chores, make those ends in themselves. Mary Poppins teaches us, in every work that must be done, there is an element of fun. Find the fun and the work becomes a game. Okay, that's Mary Poppins, but it turns out it's true. You can enjoy the tasks which, over time, you said, oh, I hate that. I hate doing dishes. I hate doing laundry. I hate mowing the lawn. I hate whatever the thing is. Question that. Just make yourself doubt it a little bit. Maybe there is something enjoyable there. Even if there's not, put on a pair of headphones, earphones, AirPods, whatever you use. Listen to a podcast while you're doing it. Listen to a symphony while you're doing it. Listen to the Allman Brothers song Jessica while you do it.
Yeah, we were I was thinking about this, doing some more research about, how does one get rid of too much accumulation in their home, too much stuff. We've inherited stuff. We from objectivists, friends of ours who've passed away. From we have this the Rich Leck Memorial Library, if you remember that.
Yeah. Does anybody need any objectivist books?
Well,
or objectivism adjacent books?
We need to figure out how to distribute all of this stuff, and and also a lot of other stuff. Like old. Perhaps some old guitars that Robert has.
Old guitars, cheap guitars.
Perhaps some old clothes.
Have no resale value.
And things that we just need to get rid of and kind of declutterify our house. So the word that came up in my mind was gamify. How can we gamify? And gamify. Donate, throw away, or sell, things. And just organize, a pile of things to do that with. So anyway, I looked this up, and one thing that I found was, this one lady recommended on YouTube, was set a 15-minute or 30-minute timer and actually go around the house with a trash bag or a box or whatever it is, if you want to donate or whatever it is you may want to do, and just put it, see how much you can fit into that bag or that box. And it would basically be a contest between Robert and I. And after the timer goes off, we'll have to see how much stuff, and who can discard more. Yeah, who can discard more.
I like it. I like that.
Yes, gamify that kind of thing.
Digging that idea.
Oh, so Linda Cordair, the wonderful Linda Cordair of Cordair.com, Quaint Cordair Fine Art. Go check out their beautiful website. And as a matter of fact, they're going to be at OCON. We're going to be seeing them in Boston. So Linda Cordair says, any of the books OCON auction worthy? Well, you know what? It might be. We have stuff we haven't looked at.
The answer is no. Because I have looked at them. I don't think there's anything auction worthy. There are books that are worth handing out.
Yeah.
Some that are in reasonable condition, Ayn Rand books or related books. It's funny because there are books which some of you would remember as being, as I say, objectivism adjacent. Books on environmentalism, for example, Dixie Lee Ray's book. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that probably just needs to go in the bin, or in America we say in the trash. But I hate throwing away books. It's just, we were just brought up with Fahrenheit 451. We don't burn books and we don't throw away books.
Well, we would donate it to the library, or we could even find some schools or contact ARI to see if any teachers out there need some extra books or whatever it may be. That may be another option as well.
Well, the Ayn Rand ones that are in decent condition, yes.
Yeah.
But so much other stuff. It is a great question. The ones that we have that are auction worthy, we're not giving away. And we could sell them, but we don't particularly want to. We have a...
yeah, we love them.
Yeah, we have a first edition Atlas Shrugged and a second edition Fountainhead. And I've looked them up, and yeah, they are worth money.
Yeah, Linda says we should organize a book swap at OCON.
Now,
That's
there's
a nice
neat
little
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, although a case of books is heavy, so we'd have to kind of limit it. Figure out the ones that might particularly be of interest.
We'd have to wait until an OCON where we could actually drive there, perhaps.
This is a sad thing that happened over the last few years is that shipping became expensive. There's a brief period where I would take old things like that, put them on eBay, and sell them. But yeah, UPS, FedEx will charge, $20 to ship, say, a piece of electronics, or $10 to ship a book that, presumably you sold for $10. And you can put that into your eBay price, but it's hard to sell a $10 item when you're telling people, by the way, there's a $15 shipping fee too. Complain. What am I complaining about? Christmas is here, and you are living your sacred lives. I love the idea of sacred, not just because it's an important moral concept, but precisely because it's Christmas time, and we should be the ones, if anybody should be the ones, celebrating the holidays in a way that has respect for the value of you. Absolutely. And again, the ends and the means, because the ends, Christmas is like an end in itself, the means to get there. You deserve to do whatever it takes to have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if anybody actually complains about this anymore. I just haven't heard it in popular culture recently. Maybe I'm out of touch, but years ago, people complained about how Christmas was too commercial. And yeah, that is, I think it was actually in the, it's a Charlie Brown Christmas or that Christmas special with Charlie Brown.
Yes.
That is part of it.
That is the one downside of that.
Yeah. But when I think of commercialism, when I think of capitalism, you've got to remember the spiritual aspect of capitalism. Yeah, that's going to blow some minds out there if you tell your friends. There is a spiritual aspect of capitalism and commercialism, in the sense that you've got amazing people out there creating wonderful things, innovating, coming up with new ideas every day that make our lives better and better and easier, and we're living better than kings and queens did back in when kings and queens more often existed. So yeah, it's you've got to remember the spirit of capitalism during Christmas time. Yes. And you cannot forget that the sacredness of the human mind and the kinds of things that we all can create and come up with, and have reverence for our own creations, and be our own heroes in that sense. That is what capitalism and commercialism is all about.
Now, to our friends who are watching this thinking, what are you talking about? As not everybody who watches this show is an objectivist or an Ayn Rand fan. Capitalism is the system of free markets in which property rights are respected. See, a lot of people think capitalism, capitalism means big business and profits and price controls and shady deals behind the scenes, and just the whole capitalism equals business in whatever way that business is being done. Honestly corrupt, it's all capitalism. So when we talk about capitalism, certainly around here, when we talk about capitalism, we mean a system of free markets in which all property is private, transactions are voluntary, property rights are protected by a government, and all transactions are voluntary. In other words, capitalism means freedom. Capitalism means free markets.
Yes.
No more, no less. And yeah, what could be more benevolent?
And what can be more benevolent than the freedom of association, associating, buying from, trading with whoever you want to? That freedom that you have, that choice that you have.
Well, but it's different when it's business and money. No, it's not.
Anytime you're talking about values, is the first thing you're going to think of greed and ugliness? Or, I don't know, malevolence? Is that really what you're going to think when your child wants a toy for Christmas? Is that the first thing you're going to think when you enter your child into a like a student inventors contest? Oh my gosh, it's all going to go to their head, and they're going to take over the world and become autocrats or whatever. No, it's not the same kind of crony capitalism, or cronyism, I should say, that a lot of people think that it is. It is not the worst of people. It's the best of people.
It is the best of people.
And
you go out there and do an honest day's work, and you trade what you did with everybody else. It's the only reason why we are in houses and driving cars and bringing home groceries and sharing things with people we care about.
And Christmas time really brings the point home of the benevolence of capitalism. Yes.
Darn straight.
So there you are. Just had to get that out. So
thank you.
Do you want to go back to the music?
No, actually, I was going to mention, Jim Ashley asked
yes.
about the film Krampus. Have you seen that?
No, I have not. I don't think I will. It's more of just like a kind of straightforward horror movie. I don't know if there's a twist. There probably is.
What?
We've seen one movie featuring Krampus, and that was the red one.
Red One.
Red One.
Red One.
Yeah, not the red one. Red One.
Yeah. Well, Krampus was pretty cool in that film.
Yeah, Krampus was pretty cool. There was a Krampus movie that...
He wasn't nice, but you don't want Krampus to be nice.
Yeah, I think that was called Krampus the Reckoning, or maybe it was just Krampus. No, it was just called Krampus. There's a whole list of them. There's I'm seeing 8 different movies with the title Krampus.
All right. Well, Jim says he hasn't seen it yet either, but maybe someone on the YouTube side can tell us, if you saw the recent film Krampus, what did you think of it? Because Amy's a big fan of Krampus. You love
pretty
Krampus.
much. Pretty much. He and I have a good relationship.
But the question is this movie going to be a good Krampus or just another horror movie?
Yeah, it really depends on where they're coming from.
We love a good horror movie, but the only good horror movies to me are the humorous ones.
Yes, or the spoofs.
Yeah, if they're charming.
The parodies.
Yeah, I think we mentioned last week we tried watching Black Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Big disappointment. Even if you're a Bruce Campbell fan, that's not the film you want. Go watch Army of Darkness again.
Yeah, but we watched Red One. I don't know if we actually talked about it at the last...
We did. Well, we mentioned it today, too.
And, but no, Krampus is, he is basically Father Christmas or Santa Claus's helper, you could say. It's a European tradition based in Germany and Austria that has kind of made its way into American culture now, which is fun. I don't agree necessarily with the taking your 4-year-old to a Krampus parade. But to try to scare them into being good, that's a little bit too intense, I think, for 4-year-old children.
Yeah. There's an old concept that I think too many people shrug off these days, even serious people who take their values seriously, and that's the concept of age appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah. There are certain levels of intensity you don't want to expose somebody to before they're really ready for that.
But, as an adult, kind of novelty, kind of fun parade time where you go and you drink, Wassail or Glug or whatever it is. It's fine. And it's really quite interesting the way that they craft the Krampus masks in Austria and Germany. And I think they they carve them out of wood, and they carry switches, and they kind of beat on people, and they've got like a lot of noisemakers. But I could tell you more about that if you really want to know. I know a lot about the lore. Yeah, what you got?
Oh, Robin in the chat.
Is he giving us another zinger?
Yeah, he says, my life is a fairy tale, but the author is German. The differences we get between, over here and over in Europe, and especially in Germany. That's funny. That is funny. So we're enjoying Christmas. We spent Friday morning in Orchestra Hall in Detroit, watching the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. We spent last night in Greenfield Village attending holiday nights. We are getting the season go, and it took a little while.
I know.
After Halloween, it was a little tough to get into the Christmas spirit, but now it's happening.
There's a good friend of ours, Tony, who is a dramatic performer in Greenfield Village during holiday nights, who does this amazing rendition of The Night Before Christmas, or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, I should say, by Clement Clarke Moore. And when he does this rendition, it wasn't really Christmas for me until he said the line, and away they flew like the down of a thistle. And the way that he does it, he basically sings the line, and he's so good at it. And it always gives me chills every time I see him perform this. So yeah, go ahead and reread your 'Twas the Night Before Christmas poem. It'll get you there. So we've got Jim Ashley was talking about music, his favorite instrumental classical works. Let's see, Chopin's 24 Etudes, always great. Grieg's Piano Concerto in A minor. Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. A favorite jazz instrumental piece called Take 5. Yeah, Take 5. That's the song in 5/4 time, isn't it?
That's correct.
And that's by Dave Brubeck. Favorite instrumental rock piece, Time is Tight, and Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs.
All good.
All good.
Well, the ones I know. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. I was just looking on my thread here on Facebook. I never actually posted me playing music in front of the Christmas tree, but Tom Harrison says, used to love when we got a real tree, loved the smell. It's interesting you say that because I've been, posting some videos, apparently not where you can see them, but standing in front of our Christmas tree. We did this show, 5 minutes last year in front of the Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Big, beautiful, green, real tree. Every year, a live tree, ever since we stopped living in apartments, decades ago.
Yep.
And this year is the first year in over 30 years that we haven't had a real tree. We actually have an artificial tree.
Yeah, it's a white artificial tree.
I
have allergies, and I've been struggling with them all this year.
This has been a strange year for allergies.
Yeah.
So I'm usually more allergy prone than you are, and this year it's been the opposite.
Terrible allergies this year, and so therefore no real tree.
We
sad.
Decided we would try a few things to lessen the allergies, and one of them was to not bring a live tree into the house. So I totally agree with Tom. It's great to have a live tree in the house. We do that every year except this year. We'll go back next year. I'm sure we'll have straightened all this out by then. But I totally agree with you there.
Oh, you know what? I want to follow up with Robin. Robin, you had to attend some kind of Christmas celebration with your family. How did it go? Over in Belgium. Let us know. I know that was something that you were not looking forward to. Has it already happened? And if so, how did it go? Did you survive? I'm sure you did. Yep.
Linda, who says, Germans love scaring the crap out of their kids. I grew up there. Yes, Grimm's fairy tales, and other German fairy tales, some of which seem as bad as or worse than Grimm's. Yeah, I don't. I'll make a quick connection. It comes up in this guitar group. It's a group with thousands and thousands of members, and people are posting all day and then responding to each other. Some people prefer the tough love approach, like, you really suck and you should give up at this, kind of. That's their way of encouraging people. And other people then will go on a rant of, I hate that everybody here is so mean. Why can't we be nice to one another? And you can imagine I'm usually on the side of the latter, but what people are missing out is some people were brought up that way. Some people were brought up on Grimm's fairy tales. Some people were brought up on tough love. Some people are just used to that crap. And, when I look at, not the Disney versions, but the original fairy tales, I think, oh my God. But that's how you make tough young men and tough young women. Sorry, Linda, but you came out great, so.
Oh, Linda's the best. And, you can... she says she's from the village where Grimm originated.
Oh, so
that's amazing.
Probably ground zero for the grimmest of Grimm's fairy tales.
Well, if you look at them as, obviously as fantasy and not as some kind of metaphysical meaning in it, it's all right.
We're now getting a lot more music suggestions. I will be going through the chat after the show and collecting these. Christopher Smith in particular has a lot of them. Town says Danish symphony with the spaghetti western theme. Well, we'll get the Morricone going in there.
Yeah, I have to mention the Caprizio was it Italian Caprizio?
Caprizio Italian.
Caprizio Italian by Tchaikovsky, which we watched with our friend who is principal oboist, and she was really amazing. And boy, was that a great performance from the Dexter Community Orchestra and all volunteer orchestra.
Yep.
And they rival the DSO, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, they do.
They do.
And for a community orchestra, too, for a volunteer orchestra,
they're
so outrageously good. and fun. The concertmaster, no, not the concertmaster. Might be the concertmaster.
The conductor?
The conductor.
Yeah.
Usually the concertmaster is first violin, but the guy who runs the orchestra, he's great. So, yeah, if you're in Southeast Michigan and you're interested in community orchestras, Dexter Community Orchestra cannot be beat.
Yep.
And not just because they have the best oboist in the state. No, they're pretty good at the DSO, too. Yes. I really have been thinking about, you are the living end. That was an old expression people use. You are just the living end, but you really are. You are an end in yourself. And we talked last week, other people, bring them in, expand your circle, be out in the world, be with people. But I don't want that to take away from your sense of you really are the end. And I'll wrap it up by mentioning that there was a conversation with James Valiant and a few other people on one of the ARC UK forums, a Zoom call. And here was the topic. What do you think of this topic? Generosity and empathy for the selfish. Mm-hmm. Or selfishness and generosity and empathy. And my point, which I think I made well over the course of the hour and a half, there was a lot to say about it, was if you've really got your act together, say, for example, that you actually own the Owner's Manual for Life, the book they should have given every little baby at the hospital to use for the rest of his life. The Owner's Manual for Life. I think it's Ayn Rand gave it to us. If you've got that, then who should be the most generous, the most charitable? No, I don't mean in the sense of sacrifice and give till it hurts. I mean just taking advantage of the opportunities to get a little more juice out of life by sharing what you've got in a non-sacrificial way. As Ayn Rand talks about in that introduction we read earlier. It should be us. If anybody is getting a charge out of the opportunity to help people, if anybody is enjoying that, if anybody can experience empathy, if anybody should be better able to relate to other people, it should be us. I always say, we use the word selfishness as kind of a hammer to beat people over the head, wake them up. Ayn Rand was asked, why do you use the word selfish? And she said, well, for the same reason you are afraid of it. But when we use it as a hammer, to bludgeon people, sometimes we get a little cynical and we think, well, if I'm really going to be selfish, obviously I'm not going to, I'll help certain charities if I deem that they are worthy, but I'm not going to be generous. I'm not going to be effusive in any way with that.
Well, it relates back to our talk on our last show when we talked about how when we see other people, we assume that they are zeros or neutral. They're not values to us already because they exist. No, they are values because they already. And it's something that, it's that complete opposite of the sheeple idea. That they're amazing people out there and they're benefiting us, and it's very selfish for us to appreciate them even if we don't know them well.
Right.
Yeah.
So the posture that I'm trying to encourage is, well, how safe are you? How strong are you? How wealthy are you? Oh, well, I don't know. I live kind of modestly, and I guess I'm okay. Strong, I don't know. I mean, some really strong guy could probably beat me up. And safe, none of us are safe from our government, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think we underestimate how safe we are, how strong we are, how wealthy we are, how secure we are. And if you're not, I'm selfish enough that I'd want to work on that right away. Yes. Generosity is fun. Saving the day or just giving somebody a reason to smile is fun. It's enjoyable. You create values out of nowhere by holding a door open for somebody or helping them get packages to their vehicle or doing these small things that involve no sacrifice at all. And even if you are wealthy, and by wealthy I don't mean wealthy, I just mean you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Even with money, there are ways that do not involve sacrifice, that you can use a little bit of money to really make somebody's day. Generosity is fun. Generosity is selfish. If you get the opportunity to, put a coin in the Salvation Army kettle, not because that $1 or $5 bill is going to change the world, but it is going to make that kettle person smile, and it might make you smile. Take advantage of it. If dollars are dear this week, if you're tight, don't give anybody anything if you don't want to. In fact, at any time, don't give anybody anything if you don't want to. But I like doing the cape walk. I like reminding myself, oh yeah, I've got a metaphorical cape on. I am a superhero. I am strong. I am safe. People who know me know I live very modestly, but I am enormously wealthy. And I can be generous. And I'm not telling anybody to sacrifice a damn thing, but you deserve the fun that comes with opportunities to be generous. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I've got more notes, but I think that's all I wanted to say. You are, as I've said before,